And this is going to be, gotta love the headline. Bill Gates sees the end of Google search and Amazon. This is kind of interesting. In his exact quote in here was, "You will never go to a search site again. You will never go to a productivity site. You will never go to Amazon again," is what Bill Gates said. And that's quoted directly coming out of his mouth, saying he believes AI will change all these things. And that's a little alarming, isn't it? Coming from a ruthless businessman like Gates, who has killed countless companies. I thought this was a very interesting article, kind of going through, and they're huge investment. They invested 10 billion into ChatGPT, and now they're working on integrating API in every single facet of their business. And why I find this interesting is Microsoft is notorious for creating great ideas and then poorly implementing them. If there's one thing I can say about Microsoft is they've been really forward thinking in a lot of areas over the past 20 or 30 years, but their execution is lackluster at best. A lot of their software suite is actually impressive on paper, and a lot of them, like, man, that does sound amazing. I would love to try that. And they do a very good job of marketing their stuff, but they do a very poor job of packaging and actually shipping it out in a cohesive way. And I just say that because I'm one guy that profits off of that incompetence. And I feel like this is just going to be just an absolute shit show of an implementation. I don't see Microsoft executing this very well. And that's something that kind of like kind of interesting looking at. I'm like, okay, like the whole Chat GPT, and they're forcing you to use the Edge browser, I thought was hilarious. So like when you go to like bing.com, which, let's get real, this search engine just sucks. I've tried to use it. I've forced myself to use it for like a month or so, and the only thing I like about it is the background screen. Like all this other garbage that they throw in here, I'm just like, ugh, what? No, get rid of it. I just it's just, who designed this? It's so bad. It's so bad. It just is laughable on like a design perspective. I would just quit if I was part of this team. So, anyways, let's go to the chat. It says, hey, it's only available for Edge. And, if you do want to use it, just come over here, use your user agent switcher, go, yeah, all right, apply to this active window, please. Cool. All right, let's go to chat again, and we'll do a refresh, and then we're good to go. So they just put like an artificial block there, which should be illegal. I'm pretty sure that's hey, forcing people to use your browser to use a certain feature that is perfectly acceptable in every browser, because they pretty much stole Edge. It's all based on Chromium. They just changed a couple little things to make it Edge, and then baked up in parts of it to the Windows environment, so it's a little faster, but kind of artificial in the way they did it. So I thought that was kind of a little tidbit. And then as far as AI, and then we'll move on here, is this. Hey, is it going to be bad? Is AI going to surpass us as humans? And Musk, Elon Musk thinks so in less than 5 years. And I tend to agree with that. I think so. And another big thing that Microsoft's doing is the implementing a whole bunch of data systems into one and calling it a new company called Fabric, where they're taking AI, throwing all this data at it, and then combining all these different repositories into Fabric, or their new one under these data products into one product. And I'm like, this is going to go so terribly wrong. Like anybody that's done any kind of migration, that's unbelievably difficult to do. And with Microsoft's poor track record of combining, like you only need to look, at the NT to 98 conversion to XP. Oh my gosh, that was a terrible, terrible decision. I still am angry about that 20 years later. But there's been multitudes of them trying to combine products and just having a terrible end result. And We'll see how this goes with them combining the data companies. I thought, wow, interesting. And then you have a couple other companies piling onto the whole AI chat GPT code base here, like Salesforce using this GPT. I would hopefully they're not putting too much stock in here because inevitably Microsoft has a tendency to open this stuff up, get people used or addicted to it, especially other competing companies, and then make that integrated into the system and then shut down external, people. So Salesforce, I could totally see Microsoft creating like a Salesforce competing product and then looking at what they're doing with GPT because they could actually just steal all of Salesforce's information, probably whatever they're doing with GPT, do it better, integrate it directly in, and then sell a competing product and then put them out of business. They've done that. That's like their playbook. So I'm really interested to see what happens with these things. I'd be very cautious. These companies using GPT, I don't know how big of an influence Microsoft has on GPT, but I think it's substantial with their $10 billion investment. And I could see them stealing people's basically businesses and then just creating a different product because that's what they've done in the past with browsers, with office suites, with a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm really curious to see where this goes. And that's going to round it out for Microsoft news other than Bing search coming to ChatGPT. Do we even need to read that article? I don't think so. I mean, that's going to be terrible. So that's it for Microsoft and ChatGPT. Oh my gosh. I think it's all downhill from here, guys.